Morning, everybody.
老师早安。
Nice. Thank you. Hi. So wonderful to see all of you. For those of you that I can see,
Good morning.
good morning, Leticia. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Christy, hi. Thank you. Thanks for recording, Christy. Janet, good to see you. Janet, I need to talk to you immediately, if not sooner. Okay. Has to do with Kyoto. Anyhow, good morning,
Looking
everyone.
forward to it.
Yay. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. All right. So today's a fun class. Hi, Angel. Um, for me, it's a fun class anyway. So we've kind of arrived at the point where we've gone through the major highlights and the major overview of the Vinaya Sutra, all the things that we can talk about the Vinaya Sutra. And, you know, and some of you may be attracted to that, may have this feeling that, oh, well, maybe becoming ordained is something that might be something that you would want to do in this lifetime. So hold on just one second. My internet's a little bit slow. Actually, it's my computer. And why is my computer slow? Because I have 5,000 programs open. Sorry. Okay. This should help out a bunch. Okay. All right. So some of you might have this feeling, like I've had this feeling that maybe sometime in my life, not right now, sometime I may want to take those vows, and be like, wow, I want to practice those in this life, officially. So and if you have that calling, let me know, and I can connect you with other ordained people in our Sangha, and they can talk to you about it. Like, what is this really about? Right. So now today, what we're going to do is, okay, so many of us don't have that calling. It's, that may not be the thing that we want to do right now in our life. But how do we take vows, and how do we take certain kinds of commitments so that we can start building the foundation for achieving the higher goals? And many of us may know this already. Many of you may have, a book practice where you're tracking in here, like, all the weirdnesses of your mind, right? Like, yes, I judged that person today. Yes, I had that inappropriate thought. I will not let anybody read this. This goes into the fire. Don't come to my house and try to steal my books to, like, see what goes on in Tim's mind. Okay. I also write incredibly sloppily on purpose that only I can decipher. All right. And then usually it's so messy that I can't make sense of it. Because there's not really a reason to go back. I mean, there is in the day, there's a reason to go back, but there's no reason in the, really to go back and like reread all your mental afflictions. I mean, you can if you want. I was the other day I was cleaning up and I was Geshe gave some of us um a task that we have to write some poetry for Saturday morning, and sort of about your own relationship to your personal spiritual guide, your personal spiritual Buddha. Um, and I was going through some old poetry that I wrote last year. I had a moment of like 2 months where I was just like writing all the time. Um, and I was like, oh, let me go read this because maybe I can use some of that. No, it's awful. Again, I'm not letting any of you read that. Like, I don't even recognize the person who was writing that. It's weird. It's so bizarre. Um, it's like, oh, I'm not that person anymore. I could see what I was going through at the time and what I was, what was ripening for me, but I'm not that person anymore. But so where we are is, what can you do, us non-ordained people, to start building that foundation? And you probably can guess what that foundation is, and I probably mentioned it 20 times already. That foundation are the 10 virtues, or in the Abhidharma sense, the Vinaya sense, they call it the 10 non-virtues, the 10 things not to do. But what I want to talk about, how I want to talk about this is, I don't want to talk about it as vows. Like, I think vows feel like, at least for me, I don't know, do they feel, a vow feels overwhelming if I don't understand why I'm doing it. Like, don't do this. Right? Okay, fine, thank you. But why? Because I'm the type of person, if you tell me not to do something, generally within reason, I will do it. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, really? Watch me. Watch me do it. It doesn't mean I'm being immoral. I mean, and that's not what I'm saying. Like, if someone tells me don't kill people, that I'm not going out killing people. But typically, I'm the person who's like, if you tell me not to do something, I'll do the opposite to figure out why. you know but if we understand the why, I think if we really understand the why here, we have the capacity. That's how you can really fuel your practice. So we're going to go through the top 10 today. We're going to be, sort of what we talked about last time. We're going to be karmic scientists. All right. Like, get, like, we asked the question on Tuesday. Well, okay, Tim, can you tell me my past life? Okay, I'll tell you your past life. Tell me what's going on in your life right now. Oh, well, I'm struggling with this. I'm irritated with my boss. This person's cheated me, blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. That's who you were. Right. You're done. I don't need to be magical to do that. But the thing is, that's what we do as karmic, like, investigators, karmic scientists. Like, if that word attracts you, is we look at our life, we look around at the things that we like, and then we look around at the things we don't like, and we say, all right, this is who I was. I was talking to a friend yesterday about cleaning up their house, and she thought it was going to take a half an hour, and it was not going to take a half hour. I started the project, and like, oh, I can, I did the same thing the other night. I was like, I'll clean my house up. It'll take me 15 minutes. No. It always becomes this much more involved project. And but you can just look around your house and be like, okay, that is who I used to be. the house that you're looking at, the cleanliness, the messiness, the disorder, the somewhat order. Why is this place more organized than that place? You know, literally, it's like your past life right now. Okay, the person that you were. And then we were so it actually made it feel like a little bit more inspiring to clean up my house and my friend as well, because I was like, look, that's just your past negative deeds. Just get rid of it. She was like, oh, I don't need to keep that anymore. That's right, because you did something bad to create that. Now get rid of it. Okay. Um, but what this does is it actually liberates us. It liberates us in a way to say, that's who I was. What do I want to design for the future? And that's all you need to do. And I'm gonna say, like, that if you really work this, incredible things can happen very, very quickly. Things that you thought were impossible are not no longer impossible. But you have to do it yourself. I'm having this ongoing debate with somebody who wants me to prove everything that I say. And I'm like, I said, I can show you the door, but you got to walk through it yourself. I can't prove it to you in words. I can describe it to you. I can inspire you. I could give you balloons. Come on, balloons, where are they? Come on. Somewhere the balloons are gonna, there we go, I give you that. Okay. I can do all of those things for you. But you have to do it. You have to be the scientist. You have to be empowered. And I can hold your hand and walk you through it, and we can become friends, and I can point things out to you. But at the end of the day, you have to do it. I can't do it for you. I try really hard. I get up at 4:30 twice a week to try to get you guys to walk through the door. Okay. I hate the morning. I hate the mornings. I hate them a lot. It's dark. It's depressing. You know, I mean, it's very peaceful too. I don't hate them as much as I pretend to hate them. But I had a partner once who was like, you're a morning person. And I was like, shut up. I'm not. And actually, I pretty much am. But so let's become those karmic investigators. Like, what are the tools that this class is a tool oriented class. Here's the tools that you need to figure out what it is that if you're seeing something you don't like, then just cut it out in small ways. But there's this other thing that it really hit me very powerfully last night. Geshe Michael was finishing up the SCIM teacher training and was doing a Q&A. And someone had asked a question about why their karmic world wasn't working. And, he's like, well, duh, you're not doing the 4 steps. And they're like, I am doing the 4 steps. It's like, well, no, you're not. It's like, you're not rejoicing enough. You're not doing step 4 enough. And he said something incredibly beautiful that really hit very, very powerfully for me. As he said, we have this tendency to focus so much on the things that are going wrong, like war, like loneliness, like finances, like all these things that are going wrong. He said, but if you really think about it, the amount of love that's in the world is already far superior, far greater, far more immense than the amount of hate and negativity. And I was like, I was putting together the images for this class while I was listening to his class. And I just stopped and meditated and was like, yeah, you know, you're right. Because he said, look, how many people really are involved in war? Very few people. It has a huge impact. Now we got to understand the karma of the impact of a few people on the world. Okay. But if you had a Zoom call with the entire world and everyone joined, like that would be a way to solve war. Have everybody join, and then the only people that raise their hand are the people that are involved directly in war. Okay. People who control the money, control the politicians, control the governments and the armies mainly. Okay. And then you have a few like factions, right? The number of people is so few compared to the people who are not. Okay. Now the impact that those people have is enormous. But if you think about how much love there actually is in the world, and we rejoiced in that, you know, I just was blown away, and I decided to stop preparing the class and to listen more closely, um, because I felt like there's deep wisdom in that. So we can spend all of our time analyzing the little things that we don't like. And yes, we should in some capacity. I don't like this. This is impossible for me. This will never change. Okay, fine. Focus on some of those things, but then focus on the good that you do. Really, just shift it over. And how do you say, oh, Tim, we'll just shift it over when all the negative self-talk is going on? What do you think? How do you just do it? How do you just do it? Okay, you think about that, and then we're going to start the class, and then we'll get the answer at the end. You can't force yourself, Claudia. That's not how karma works. Can't force your, if someone is depressed, you can't tell them, don't be depressed. Can't do it. But we'll talk about it. So here we go. The thing that let's so we're going to investigate the top 10 non-virtues. And I'm thinking that maybe at the end of this class, if you all are interested, we could take vows together. We could do, if you want to take formal vows, if you want to take lifetime layperson vows in refuge, we could do that. If you want to commit yourself to these 10 non-virtues or 10 virtues, we can do that as well. I think it'd be really nice. Anastasia, could you reach out to Alona and Ale? I don't think they're here today. No. And see if we can schedule that.
Sure.
Thank you. So here we go. We're going to do a couple things today. We're going to go through those 10 virtues. And we're also going to go through some of the karmic correlations that you see because of them. And then you can become a much more subtle investigator of your own karmic world. So here we go. Here's some pictures for you. Yay. Yay. Oh, that's not on the right view. Stop. Sorry, guys. This is why I'm no good in the morning. All right, here we go. First non-virtue, right, is sokchu. No killing, no taking life. All right. So we've already talked about many of these, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into them. So the first thing is not killing any living being or getting somebody else to do it for you. Suicide also is included in this as well, killing yourself. Right. So we defined this earlier as not, not taking the life of any living being or getting someone else to do it for you. Okay. So what's one of the ways that we get people to kill for us so we don't have to do it? Exactly, Claudia. We get other people to kill the cows. We get other people to kill the pigs. We get other people to kill the salmon. Okay. So that's one way. Another way is through, indirectly, my taxes pay the American government, and the American government spends, I don't know, $600 billion on defense every year. I don't know, it's some huge number. And a lot of that defense also includes offense. Okay, so my tax money is indirectly or directly paying for my government to go and kill people. So that's already, don't get too depressed about the world you live in. It's the world that's arising for you. It was the person that you were. Okay. But you can do things, if it's appropriate in your country. I can write my elected officials and say, I don't approve of this. I send letters with my tax returns that say, I want my money to go to building roads and to building schools and, helping poor people. I don't want it to go to the defense fund. That's not how the government money works, but, it should work that way. Like you give money to ACI and you tell me, Tim, I want you to spend it on the Vietnamese translation program, which we don't have yet, which I want to start. All right. You give me money for the Vietnamese translation program. And then I spend it on the Romanian translation program. That's a violation. That's actually illegal. You told me to do something. It's a nonprofit. You told me what to do with the money and I did something different. Okay. The government is probably the ultimate nonprofit. They don't pay taxes to themselves. they take your taxes. That's why technically that's what elected officials are supposed to do anyway. That's, things don't always work the way you want them to, but you can change it. So in the no killing, which the positive way of saying it is protect life. Find ways to protect life, including your own. Like put the seatbelt on in the car. Don't look at your text while you're driving. Don't text people, Tim, while you're driving. Watch where you're stepping. Look for the ants. Like send somebody out to clean the pool every hour to make sure no bees have landed in it and can't get out. My staff finds me so annoying. Tim, there's nothing to clean. Yeah, but there's no bugs. Go do something else now. Thank you. Like, get it? Like, I make them clean the pool every hour to look for bugs that got stuck in the water that can't get out. You see. So what are the karmic correlations of this, right? Like what are some of the things that might appear for you if you take life, or if you have taken life in the past? Think of it this way. Think of the lives you've taken in the past that maybe you don't do it now, but you did before. So one of the correlations is you have a short life. Your life is shorter than what it should be, which you really can't evaluate until you die. So good luck with that one. Get it? Okay. But it should be a fear-inducing karmic correlation. My life could be shorter than it should be. The other one is that you get sick easily. Last week, everyone got this cold. Like they were in bed for 2 or 3 days, sore throats, all this stuff. I was hanging out with everyone. My parents got it. I was hanging out with all of them. I'm not saying that I'm better than everyone else, but I didn't get sick. Okay, so like these are these weird moments where you're like, everyone else gets sick but you. Why? Maybe because I force my staff to clean the pool every hour. Maybe because it's annoying to walk with me down the street because I'm like a hopper and I jump around and I walk really slowly, because I don't want to step on things. It might be annoying to others, but you all got sick and I didn't. I don't know. Just saying. So when we talk about the consistent, these are like, so for those of you that know the 4 flowers, we're going to jump ahead significantly right now. Okay. There's four ways that a karma ripens. So let's go through that really quickly. Right? The 4 ways that a karma ripens is one, it just ripens like similar result to the cause. All right. Like you give money, you get money. You kill somebody, someone kills you, things like that. All right. Like 1-to-1 correspondence. The result is similar to the cause. Then there's this second thing that we call it a habit, or we call it like consistent results. Right. So the reason you see certain kinds of results, like for example, if you haven't, if you get sick easily, frequently, right? Your life is short frequently, which is hard to measure and be aware of, but pretend you can. With these kind of habitual results, it means that you had a habit of enjoying that particular wrong deed and have a natural attraction to it. Okay. So, and the reason I chose this picture is, the first time you smoke a cigarette, you're like, that's gross. That tastes awful. It makes you cough. It's gross and all this other stuff, right? But the second time, you're like, okay, that's not so bad. You kind of like, maybe you like the taxes you. After a while, you need it. Spoken from a true addict who grew up in a house of smokers who never would smoke and then went to college and was like, oh, I'll just smoke clove cigarettes. And I went from that to rolling my own cigarettes. And then anytime I needed a break or I was stressed out, I would go outside in the cold, right? It just became a habit, you know. And then that's how karma works. Like you start being naturally attracted to certain kinds of things. By the way, I quit as fast as I started. So I quit because I had an emotional experience where I was very close to somebody, and then they met somebody else. And I was extremely hurt. I was 24 or something like that. I was extremely hurt by it. And every time I thought about smoking a cigarette, I thought about them. And the pain was too much. And so I was like, well, like this, I'm done with cigarettes. And I was done, literally. Oh, gone. Like, forget it. I was like, that was true renunciation. Oh, you like me? Yeah, I'd like you. Well, we have a thing, right? Yeah, we have a thing. So let's date. No, I'm going to go with this other guy. Okay. That's what that conversation was like. It was pretty damn harsh. It's okay, though. I hope they're happy. Truly. I think I just broke virtue number 9, 8 or 9, just right now by that sarcasm. No, I really do. I hope that they're happy. Um, so if you're looking for these kinds of results that happen over and over again are due to habits. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of that like stupid story. Okay. Um, so that's one way that karma ripens. So ripens, the first way is like similar, right? Similar results to the cause. Then the next one in the sort of consistent or habit will be things that are habitually ripening for you in your world that may not necessarily look like the cause, right? It might not be intuitive that by taking life that your life will be short or that you get sick easily. These are just things that are happening in a more habitual basis because you habitually in the past were involved with killing. All right. The third way that karma ripens is we call it like a habit, or excuse me, environment. What happens in your environment? What's going on in that general space around you? And this is just a picture from New York City. So like what's going on in the world around you? Okay. So for example, with someone who has the habit of killing, right? So what happens in your environment? So interestingly, like if there's been a lot of killing of living beings in the past, you'll start seeing things like food and medicine, anything that's supposed to nourish you has very little power to do so. Like, if we look at like, I would say, for example, like the food in the United States, grown in the United States, typically is not, for me, is actually not very nourishing. Like I don't get a lot of, it doesn't feel good to me in general. When I go to Mexico, the food is like it just feels so like healthy, right? France, oh my God. Like, and they have incredible, like their food sources are incredibly protected, right? Like I can eat bread in France like a champ, right? I eat that same amount of bread here, I feel sick. Like I don't feel good. Buenos Aires, yes, Flavia. The food there is incredible, very nourishing, right? So the food in your country, if there's a lot of killing, may be not nourishing. Yes, Japan's food and excellent, right? Well, so why, like, what is it about the United States. Well, you know, we can just go through the history and be like, well, there's been lots of killing here. People showed up and, oh, let's just kill all the native people. All the people who were here before, let's just kill them. Okay. Or let's give them land that's like a rock. Northern Arizona is reservations for Native Americans. Do you know what Northern Arizona is like? It's a big rock. There's no dirt. It's hot. No water, right? Okay, you can go live on land that doesn't give you any food. Here you go. I don't know. The United States is the only country to drop a nuclear bomb twice. We have the largest defense fund in the world. Maybe there's a correlation. The Buddha said there is. Okay. Food's hard to digest. They cause disease. Sometimes the people around you don't, in general, live long lives. These are all different types of environmental results. So that's fun, not particularly. The fourth way that karma ripens, and we're not going to talk too much about that right now, is that it ripens as in different perspectives. One is it ripens as major transitions in your life, major changes, like your death, like meeting your partner, like getting that new job where you go to a new city. Or what we more say in ACI is it ripens into your next life. It ripens in a future life. Okay. So the four ways that karma ripens are corresponding, like cause and result, direct, habitual results, environmental, and then transitions next life. Hold on just 1 second. Okay. And so by becoming karmic investigators, we can look into all of these things. We can plan for, and then also look at what's happening currently. And say, okay, it must have been that. So I need to focus especially, like if your world has lots of food that's not digestible or is not healthy, why do you guys think I spend so much time like not stepping on bugs or getting bugs out of the pool? All right. And one of the reasons, right? The food in the United States is not nourishing to me in the same way as it is elsewhere. Okay. I want to change that. I see so many unhealthy people. I see so many obese people. I see so many, it's like, it's awful. Right. So that's why I don't step on bugs. That's why I have people clean the pool. Okay. So that's one of 10. Let's go through the rest. Yay. Okay. Number 2, what's the second non-virtue? No, taking something that wasn't given to you. Something wasn't given to you, don't take it. Here's a little kid walking by, grabbing the strawberries that mom is going to be making a pie with. Okay. She's not giving the kid strawberries. Right? Okay. So this is taking anything of value without being given to you. All right. So this is actually, you can see all the screen. You couldn't see you couldn't see this. Is that what you guys were looking at? Okay. Sorry, I just got a message to say we can see all screen. I wasn't sure what you meant. Um, so hopefully I didn't have anything bad up. um, so not taking anything of value, like this can get really kind of obsessive. Um, you know, like really looking at like little things. I've said this before, like you go to someone's house and you take a shower and you didn't ask if you could use their shampoo, right? Or like, oh, here's a taking a pen from work. The other day I had a really weird karma. I was in Phoenix and I was walking down the street and I found $200 on the ground. Right, exactly. Toilet paper. Go into the bathroom and be like, "Hey, can I use your toilet paper?" Like after you've gone to the bathroom, right? You know, you're like, "Well, what else are you gonna do?" This is why bidets are the best things ever. They should be a worldwide amenity. Japan has it right. Not the Indian way Janet Place. My next major investment is going to be a $500 bidet for my toilet. They're the best thing ever. One that, first of all, like heats the seat. So when you sit down, right? It's like so like perfect. Like anyway, it should be a pleasant experience. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about not taking anything of value that's not given to you. So so what are some of the habit results of it? Let's see. First of all, the habit results is if you take things of value that weren't given to you, you don't have enough money to live on. And then the things that you do have are common property. Like you don't actually own it. Right? Like you can use it, but it's not yours. Like for years, like I kept renting a house, like renting my house, like my apartments, and I kept getting kicked out. Like they sold the building or they needed to take this over or I couldn't stay or the landlord was an evil monster from like the fifth level of hell. That was a fun one. Um, she came in my apartment like every day to make sure it was clean. I was like, the fuck? Anyway, so and then you have to look at the things that you are taking that aren't given to you. So I started doing that and realized I was doing little tiny things that no one really notices, like the shampoo, like pens. Oh, I was in the middle of saying a story about I found $200 when this thing came up. Yeah, so I found $200 on the street. And I was like, well, that's good karma. And then I was like, well, shit, it doesn't belong to me. It wasn't given to me. What do you do with that? It's just sitting there, right? Nobody's around, right? So here's how I navigated it. First, I stood there for 30 minutes. Okay. my life is like my life is interesting. So I stood there for 30 minutes. Yes. And I waited to see if somebody came back looking for their $200. And then no one did. And so I was like, well, maybe a Buddha dropped this, so I would have to think about this. Right. So now you're in this moral conundrum. What do you do? Do I leave it there? Because if I just leave it there and I walk away, the next person that walks by is going to pick it up. Now, is that person going to think about it as much as Tim is thinking about it? Probably, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Are they going to wait 30 minutes? Probably not. So, what I decided to do is I decided it was, yes, Barbara. I was like, yep, I'm generous, and that's why I'm seeing this money. There's still a possibility that someone will come looking for it, but they probably won't find it. If I leave, someone else is going to pick it up. So I picked it up and then I gave it to other people. And I gave it, and in my mind, I thought it was money that probably was from some server, like someone, took their tips at the end of their shift and then dropped their tips on the ground. That's how I because I was in the middle of a kind of a restaurant area. So like, that's probably what's happening. So what I did is I gave that money back over the next day or two as like huge $100 tips at coffee shops. Okay. So I gave it back, and they like, I order a $3 coffee and I'm like, bam, I throw $100 in the jar and they're like, and I'm like, it's like, I know who you are. Okay. So that's how I did that. The environmental result of stealing things not given to you is that, and this is another thing, like food, you can't grow food. Like the crops are like the fields don't work right, or there's not enough space. Food can't remove your hunger. Food goes bad quickly. Droughts where there's no rain, or it rains too much, right? All of these things together are from stealing, right? Like things don't work quite right. There's too much rain, and so the crops drown. There's not enough rain, so then the crops dry, you know, and that comes from stealing, which is not intuitive. All right. And here's the third one. This one's going to take the next longer period of time. So the third non-virtue of 10 is sexual misconduct. All right. And what this mainly means is adultery. Mainly. All right. So here's my picture. The partner's coming home from a long business trip and finds this. Okay. So now we have to have a little talk. We need to have a little talk. We started it the other day. Okay. So I need to tell you guys something that's in the Vinaya because it's there. And then we're going to talk about it. So don't freak out and don't think you're a bad person. Okay. All right. But we have to say it, but there's reasons behind everything. And so I want to give some of those reasons and thoughts about it. So mainly sexual misconduct means mainly, not when people are in committed monogamous relationships, do not engage at all. That's what it means. Okay. If you're in a committed monogamous relationship and everyone knows that it's committed, don't engage. Don't try to take other people's partners. who are also in committed monogamous relationships. Okay. That's mainly what that means. However, ready. I should have this list of things to prepare. Don't get embarrassed. I'm going to say some things today that you may not be used to me saying or you saying out loud as well, and knowing that the rest of the world is hearing you too. So just giving you a heads up. So the definitions of sexual misconduct besides adultery means, I'm going to go for the easier ones first. Having sex with someone who is related to you. That one's a pretty much standard. Like, different countries have different laws, but it's like third, fourth cousins, someone who's real distant, like, and there are reasons for those. Okay. Having sex with someone who's too young. Right. So every country has its own rules and laws of what it means to be able to consent to having sex. What is the age of consent? Right. Most countries have the age of consent at 18. And then there's sort of various rules about like people who are under 18 and how many years, like in Arizona, if you're under 18, you can engage in sexual relations with someone who's less than 2 years younger than you, who's no more than 2 years, no more than 2 years younger than you. Okay. So like if you're 17, you can go out with a 15-year-old. Okay. But if you're over 18 and older, you cannot go out with somebody less than 18. Okay. That's the age of consent. And every country has different rules on that. And they make sense. Right. This is not, these parts aren't difficult. Don't have sex with someone who's ordained. Well, that's obvious because the ordained people have taken vows against celibacy. Okay. Excuse me. Vows of celibacy. Don't break their vows. Okay. Like, don't tempt them to break their vows. Okay. Let's see here. It says don't have sex with a woman who is menstruating. Okay. A woman who's pregnant more than a month. Okay. Or a woman who's has a young infant who's already breastfeeding. Okay. Not sure what all those mean directly, but this is what the Vinaya says. And why. For whom it hurts, like it's painful. Well, you don't want to hurt someone who's sick, like with an illness, which would make sex improper, right? Again, I'm not exactly sure what illnesses they're referring to. It could be reference to sexually transmitted infections. It could, maybe there's some illnesses, I don't know, where it's not proper to have sexual relations for your mental health as well. Like that's not included, but I agree. This one's fun. Don't have sex in excess, too much. Don't have too much of it. And the number is more than 5 times. Now, it's not clear if more than 5 times means more than 5 times with one person, more than 5 times in your life, more than 5 times in one day, or a week or a month. I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says more than 5 times. Okay. 5 times in an hour. Okay. I'm not going to do that. I don't know. Okay. You'd be exhausted. On top of that, and on top of other problems. It says having sex in an improper place, like in a temple or in front of your teacher or in front of an altar or something like that. Okay. And depressingly, Lord Atisha also says having sex in the daytime. So when it's light outside. Okay. I don't know. Lord Atisha said it. I'm just telling you what he said. Oh, Tim, what if I live above the Arctic Circle and it's light out for 24 hours a day? I don't know. Go talk to Lord Atisha, okay? I don't know. Okay, I'm just kind of making a joke about it, but figure it out yourself. Okay, here's the part that's a little bit more difficult, but I want to explain it a little bit. So there's certain other aspects that they consider in the Vinaya as sexual misconduct that mainly the reason they say it this way, and I'm going to debate it. Yeah, blackout curtains. Good, Louisa. It's not daytime anyway. There's certain reasons that they consider certain activities sexual misconduct. And the main reason they say is that they increase your desire. Okay, well, what does it mean to increase my desire? So basically, I'm going to give you a list of everything that increases desire and the one thing that you're allowed to do that allegedly does not increase desire. Okay. Everyone's like making a face. I know. This is why we have to talk about it. This is why you have to be taught these things, not just read it from a book. So here's the only thing that is permitted. Okay, now, and I don't agree with this 100%, and I'm just saying what it says right here. The only thing that they say that is not sexual misconduct is sex between a man and a woman. A penis and a vagina, that's it, together. Okay? Oral sex, anal sex, homosexuality, even masturbation are considered sexual misconduct. Okay. All right, I said it. Now let's talk about it. Okay. I can see your faces. You're all like, what? I'm going to be purifying this for lifetimes. So the main idea is that certain activities. So one person left. I'm sorry. Don't leave until I explain it. Certain activities are, so the other thing that it says, don't freak out, Desmond, don't worry, is that now if the Vinaya said that the only reason you're allowed to have sex is to make babies, I would be like, okay, this makes sense. All right. You're just engaging in the mechanics of making babies. Let's call it the machinations of making babies. Okay. If the Vinaya said that, I would be like, okay, great. We need to have babies because we need to populate the world. I can get behind that. So, but it said that, sex between a man and a woman is permitted in one form and the rest is not. Okay. So my first argument is, so that form of sex doesn't increase desire. But what's this other list? Oral, anal, masturbation does not, or does. Those three do, but that one doesn't. I'm like, hold on a second here. So let's take a couple steps back. The whole point of the Vinaya is to learn how to control your senses and control your desires. So anything that increases it, like, the example we were using the other day of like, the person walking in and I'm like, ooh, they're really hot, right? And my eyes go and they're like, ooh, and they look at that person. And then I'm like, ooh, I wonder, ooh, those are nice legs. Ooh, then like all of a sudden, one eyeball, one interaction with my eyeball over there then becomes a thought, then a fantasy. Okay. And now all of a sudden, what was the normal walk in a cafe becomes a whole fantasy of desire. And now I'm consumed in my fantasy, which has nothing to do with that person other than they appeared, right? So the main idea of this is to consider what types of things increase your desire in a wrong way. Now let's take a few steps. Let's take a few side steps here. One, our group in ACI is inclusive of everybody and everybody's sexual orientation. All right. And the Vinaya says one thing, but our lineage says something different. If people are in a consensual relationship as adults, then it's okay. You be you, okay? You know, there's so much hate and challenge and frustrations and evil in the world, right? That, you know, love is love. In ACI, love is love. Okay. And in the higher teachings, there's no reason, like, a lot of the teachings are written from the point of view in general, not all, but are generally written from the point of view of a man and woman. Okay. But that's not the only way. Okay. And you can get enlightened with whomever you love and however you love people. Okay. So I wanted to make that very clear because I think it can get a little bit weird and a little bit ACI is a safe place for anybody and everybody, and we're accepting and inclusive of everybody. And if you are in a place in your life and you don't feel included or you feel alone and you don't have anyone to talk to, come talk to me. All right. Because I know what that feels like. All right. And there's a place for you here. So don't worry about the Vinaya, in my opinion. But at the same time, look at the things that you do that increase unhealthy sexual desire. Because sexual desire can be healthy, and you can have a healthy sexual life that includes some of those things on that list. Okay. You're not a bad person, right? And sexual desire and sexual expression and intimacy and the bliss that can come from it are incredibly powerful and can be incredibly spiritual too. Right? You know, what if we didn't look at sexuality as a dirty thing, but looked at it as a sacred thing? Okay. You know, the main point is what increases your wrong desire. If you want somebody because you want to feel pleasure and you want to get off and you don't care about that person, that's wrong desire because the pleasure doesn't come from them. It can't come from them, right? If you're just selfish and taking, you know, that's, you know, what does that do? And you can look at that and you can analyze it and you can meditate on it. But there's nothing wrong with your sexual desire. You know, don't get all like, you know, it's not a dirty thing. But it's also the source of a tremendous amount of suffering. That's why it's the longest on this list. That's why I'm taking the longest time with this. right? It's the source of so much suffering. How many people have been abused? How many people have been taken advantage of? How many people have not really consented? You know, I know what that's like too. So the jealousies that arise in relationships, the pain that happens because people are not aware of their sexual energy or not aware of how much it hurts or how much they want to possess it in themselves or in other people. And they want to own, like, all of these things together, like, is a source of tremendous suffering. And in my opinion, that's why the Vinaya is like, look at the way these things can create this, right? But also what I said in the beginning of class is about the idea that there's so much more love than hate in the world. Like, what if we took and looked at it in a way that there's a tremendous beauty? I mean, good God, the pleasure of sex with a partner that you're just intimate with and trusting and you can explore with and just, I mean, come on. Like, it's amazing. And I'll just be the first one to say it's amazing. I'm not the first one to say that, and I hope I won't be the last one to say it. You know, um, but it also has the tremendous power to hurt people too, and that's why I think it's so complicated, and why we talk about it, and why there's so much to talk about. There's society pressures, right? There's what your society allows you to do and not allows you to do. What's secret and what's not secret. Like what clothes we wear, what clothes we don't wear, what parts of our body we're allowed to show, what parts of our body we're not allowed to show, what's shameful, what's celebratory. I mean, like, if you really spend time on this, I could give a class on this for like weeks, right? And every place is different, and having traveled in so many places, like when I go to different countries, I have to pay attention to what's proper and improper there, right? So, like, I have different clothes for different countries sometimes. In Germany, you can go to the beach naked. Great, right? Forget about that in Singapore. I mean, that's not going to happen in Singapore, right? So bring your bathing suit to Singapore, Tim, right? Don't get upset about it either. So um, spend time thinking about it and thinking about it for yourself. And in what ways does your energy hurt people? In ways does your energy support people? And I think if we have an awareness of that, like, the seeds we can plant are tremendous. you know Treat your sexuality or your sexualities like sacred sexuality. Treat it as sacred. All right, so the habit results of sexual misconduct: if you work in a place where people are unreliable or inconsistent, you can't rely upon them to get stuff done, maybe you were sexually misconducting. You feel a lot of jealousy, or everywhere you go, your partner's being hit on. At least, never mind, I'm not going to go there. Make a joke. Yeah, if you find a lot of competition for your partner, maybe you were inappropriate with your sexual energy. In your environment, if you're in a place that smells, that's dirty, like it smells of urine and it smells of poop, that area in general represents a space of sexual misconduct. Some cities, it's amazing. One city will smell, and like New York in many places smells awful, right? Same type of city, but smells, Kyoto, clean, fresh. Like you don't smell anything in Kyoto. You don't even smell pollution from the cars, right? Okay, so maybe there's some correlation to that. Things are just unpleasant in general. All right. We aren't gonna get done today, and that's okay. So number 4 is how do I call it? Lying, right? And I chose this picture because lying is when you say something that gives another person a mistaken idea in their mind. So this guy has I don't know, a red diamond or something in his head, I guess, talking to the other person, but the other person doesn't get the same image in their mind. And that's a really powerful thought to consider, is that lying can also mean not saying something, because the other person has a different image in your mind than you have, and you just don't tell them. And it's with intent, like you have some kind of purpose behind it, this deceptive purpose behind it. So let's go to some of the correlations that you might see in your world if you're a karmic scientist. If no one ever believes what you're saying, you might be telling them the truth and no one believes you. Or the people around you are just like always trying to deceive you. They're always trying to play you. So if people don't believe you or listen to you, maybe you've lied in the past. So some of the environmental results, what's interesting, most of the environmental results, they talk about crops. This is from the scriptures, but we have to think of more, more in modern times. So one of the things is, because of lying, is that any work that you do with other people doesn't seem to create success. Like farming or working in a business, you all work together, you have a great idea, you get started, but you can't get it to be successful. Or the people working just can't work well together. And I've seen this happen. Like some of the most talented people that I know who can just get shit done, right? And are very, very capable. I know someone like this. They tell little lies, and I don't usually call people out on them, but I was thinking about it when I was preparing the class. Like they just they can't work well with others, and they can't get their stuff really done because they're lying. So it's a fascinating correlation. Like, and most people lie not because they're bad people. They lie because they're afraid. They're afraid of rejection, or they're afraid of um, they're afraid of not succeeding or something like that. Which is interesting. They're afraid of not succeeding, and then they lie about it, and then they don't succeed. Well, okay, there you go. But like it's these little things, and we just have to, like, the thing that I want to keep emphasizing is don't beat yourself up. You've had lifetimes of mistakes, and a lot of things that are ripening right now they're entirely out of your control. So you're not a bad person. You're an amazing person because you're here. You're amazing because how many people actually want to be better? They want to become better people. You already are amazing people. Like it's weird that amazing people want to become better people. Okay. It's a weird thing, so yes, bad seeds are going to ripen. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. But you're not a bad person. You're a good person and you're trying to make things better. And if you understand the correlations, then you know exactly what to do. Okay, people aren't getting work done. Bam. Okay, well, why is that? Well, because I'm lying. Oh, well, I haven't lied in a while. Okay, fine. Now just stop lying entirely. Start getting your book out, Tim, and looking for all the little lies that you say during the day. Tracy, I'm not going to answer that question, but save it for a Q&A. It's a good question. So what little ways am I lying? So save the question, Claudia, for another day. And we're not going to get to it today, but save it because it's a good question as well. And then just relax. I mean, seriously, just relax. Like now you're doing the things that are in play now. You've put other things out into play, right? Some of your old seeds will still ripen. Great. Just keep. Hold on. You guys ready for this? I've just made this YouTube. I've just made this video non-shareable, but I don't care. This is what you need to do. Oops, hold on. Does everyone know this? Hope you guys know this. Just do this. Okay, when sharing audio, best. Okay, I don't care. Maybe, hopefully, you guys can hear this.
Mr. Grumpy Gills. When life gets you down, you know what you gotta do?
I don't want to know what you gotta do.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim, swim.
Dory, no singing.
That's enough.
Swimming,
Dory.
swim.
So just keep swimming. All right, that's the whole point. Don't worry about it. I think I left it on short enough, and if YouTube doesn't like it, you can just remove it. The point is, Dory's like, just keep swimming. Okay. Just keep swimming, Okay, so life has got you down. Okay, just stop lying and just keep swimming. Do, right? And eventually the karma clears up. It's called Finding Nemo. You guys should watch the movie. All right. Why else? What else happens in your world because you've lied? Everybody cheats each other. If you see a lot of fear, and there's many things to be afraid of, like if you just have general fear of things, they might be lying. All right, here we go. Number 5. Shit, we only got halfway through this class. Nice. Okay. All right. So number 5 is divisive speech. Things that you say to other people that have the effect of dividing them up. To try to make friends into enemies. And this is what's even interesting, even if it's true, even if what you say is true about somebody, if you have the intent of dividing, if you're splitting people up to say, create cliques or groups or factions, and this is really a challenging thing. Like somebody does something to you and you want to talk about it with a friend because it hurt. What do? You got to be careful how you talk about your experience. I was hurt when they did this. But this is a frequent thing that people do. That's why it's number 5. So what's the habit result? The people around you are always fighting. And they're just not good people to be around. And you can feel this, like people who gossip and divide people up and talk shit on each other, they're just not good people to be around. You know, the energy's nasty. If you speak divisively, you might live in a place that has uneven ground. It has a lot of like places that are difficult to cross. And again, it's where there's lots of things to be afraid of and things that could hurt you. And it sounds like Arizona. Wonder why I have to live here. Exactly, Peiling. Yes. If you just do these, if you just take care of people, these things just naturally happen. Okay, let's see if we can get one more done by the end of class. Number 6. This is harsh words. When you say things to somebody with the intent to hurt them. Or my favorite thing to do is to say things nicely, but actually mean something else. Sarcasm. You got to be careful with sarcasm because it can come across the wrong way. All right. So saying things that are intended to hurt people, as you can see, he's yelling at her, saying something mean, and she's upset. So what happens when you are somebody who uses harsh words or have in the past? You hear many unpleasant things in this world. Like you just hear, you hear other people yelling, you hear people saying mean things to each other. You hear just the sounds around you are just not nice, like maybe city sounds, like cars honking their horns or ambulances all the time. Or I had this weird thing where like every day during my meditation, a low flying airplane would fly over my house. Just at exactly the right time when I was just getting into deep meditation, the airplane would fly over. Right. Another thing that happens is it sounds like people around you are always trying to start a fight. It always just sounds like I have someone I know really well that when they open their mouth, it always sounds like they're ready to engage in battle. I don't know if you've ever met people like that. They're always like, they're like ready to fight. I'm like, why are we fighting? Let's like, I haven't said anything yet. Why do I have to see this? Right? Like, why do I have to see this bullshit? I didn't do anything to you for no reason at all. Yeah, you did. You said mean things to people. So I'm going to describe Arizona to you. Because of harsh speech, you live in a place where there's obstacles like thorns and stones and lots of sharp things that can hurt you, like glass. It's rough. There's no water. The earth is dry. It's poisoned. It's burning hot. It's useless. And there's many things to fear. Okay. I just described Arizona. Maybe that's why Geshe Michael brought me here. Right. So if you live in a place like that, maybe you should start speaking nicer to people. All right. So we did 6 of 10. Yay. Next class, we will continue on with 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to move into a total different topic, but completely related. We're going to be moving into a Lamrim, Jason Kappa's short Lamrim, Song of My Spiritual Life. And this is really what I really wanted the course to focus on, is once we move into becoming investigators of our karma, like investigators of our world. What do we see and how do we change it, right? What is the world that comes up for us? And what are the various things that I need to stop doing and the things I need to start doing. And for the love of the Buddhas, for the love of yourself, right? Please start rejoicing more in the good. Like, and that's what we're going to do for the last 2 minutes. We're going to do a short meditation. And I'd like you guys to just think about the good things that you did today or yesterday, because if you just got up. All right. And don't let yourself think of anything else. Okay. Janet. I'm just picking on you, Janet. You're all right. Let's take a minute. Close your eyes. And think of one good thing that you did for someone in the last day. And as you're thinking about it, just don't think about it, but rather feel what it feels like to be treated kindly by you. How did that other person feel when they received the goodness that came from you? And try to cultivate that feeling in your heart. And as you cultivate the feeling with each exhale, spread it out to the rest of your body. Can you feel that joy, the relief, the comfort from your heart to the tip of your head, to the tip of your fingers, to the tip of your toes?
When life gets you down.
And then take a deep inhalation in. And exhale.
Life gets you down, you know what you got to do?
I don't want to know what you got to do.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim, swim.
Dory, no singing.
Ha, 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 ha.
Dory.
I love to swim in
Dory.
when you want.
Okay. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much. And thanks, translators. Thank you to the tech team.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. And then let's say goodbye. See you guys. When's the
Tim.
next class? By the way, hold on.
Thank you so much.
谢谢老师，晚安，拜拜。
Thank you for
Thank
taking
you,
the
teacher
time.
Tim. Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias. Feliz día.
谢谢。
Okay.
谢谢翻译老师。
谢谢 Persis 翻译。
谢谢 Tim， 谢
Thank
谢
you，拜拜。
Persis。
谢谢 Persis 翻译。
Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you Saturday morning. Ciao.
Hello. Hi.